Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly.
2, 1.
Vinyl Tap. I'm Tim.
I'm Tim.
I'm Tim.
I'm Tim.
And we just listened to Boreas by the Oh Hellos.
Hello.
The
Oh, hi.
Oh
hello.
Oh, hello.
Good day.
Hi.
Anyway, that was an album. It was a short one.
It was a very short
Yeah,
album.
20 minutes.
Yeah, 7 songs.
This is weird as shit.
You reckon?
Yeah,
it's-
that was
yeah.
a tonal disaster. Holy fuck.
My God.
Yeah, didn't you get that feeling of like whiplash over and over again?
No.
A little.
No, not really,
Really?
no. Kind of. Especially like when the third song started and it was like a standard country song.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it turned out to not be
Yeah.
over time. That was
Yeah.
interesting.
It was interesting. No, like I could tell it was the same band. But whether
Production was good.
production was good, overall it was pretty good, but like lots of songs that were just, yep, these are songs
Yeah, it felt like
together.
it felt like a couple of them. The third one, like Lapis Lazuli, and then the glowing at the end, both kind of felt like, all right, these are the ones that we are going to release as singles
Yeah.
for possibly radio play, and then everything else felt a bit more, this is the music we want to make.
Right. That's an
Yeah.
interesting take.
I'm picking up what you're putting down
It
though.
also makes sense.
Do I agree with that? Mostly. I think I don't know. I don't think glowing would glowing be a
I
radio
just like
song?
that you wrote, literally.
Yeah, literally a tonal disaster. Well, it was. It was like, what the fuck is going? I don't know. Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Glowing definitely had that pop
More of a pop song.
Yeah.
folk
Felt
sound.
like it was definitely going for a like grand scale kind of vibe. Kira said that she couldn't wait to see the movie that these songs were written
It felt
for.
like initially at the start,
totally get
especially that first song, going from like the cool banjo-y string sound into like something a bit more like cinema-esque. It kind of felt like it could be the start of like a Coen Brothers movie, like an Oh Brother We're Out There or something.
right.
It felt like it had a very clear
Right.
direction, but it sounded cinematic
I
to
was
me.
picturing a more Into the Wild kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Indie film.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
And-
You disagree?
I
You,
don't know.
you
if
picture it more of a Marvel superhero flick.
Yeah.
Alright.
Like, no, a gritty Batman film.
That's right.
To go even worse though, like Cold to me very much sounded like a song from Frozen, like not one that the main characters sing, but one that's like the start of the first movie is like this tribe of like the Sami people, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
indigenous,
yeah.
like singing like it sounded like it was from Frozen to me.
Yeah.
So there were elements in here that I kind of think, because the Who, not the HWO, but the HU, the Mongolian
Metal.
band.
yeah.
Just to clarify.
I'm very glad that you've worked that clarification every time you mention them now because
Well, no.
of that one time.
Yeah, well, it's important because it's very different sounds. But there were like elements in here that reminded me of that in terms of the folk, which is what I think you're referring to.
Kind of like
Yeah.
a raw primal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
sound. And I didn't mind that combining with the other sorts of folk in the first 2 tracks. But after that kind of went away. And they did start leaning more into like pop, very
Pop folk.
very trendy at the moment, like we were talking about the other month with leaning into the bass sound really heavily.
Yeah.
The bass to me is what sounded most out of place in the folk songs.
Yeah. I really liked at the end of Boreas they had that was very bass heavy, and it sounded beautiful, but like I get what you mean about it sounding a bit out of place compared to
Oh, it was produced amazingly,
Yeah.
but
It was
just
like they were trying to
this-
recreate Gang of Youths in a sense, or like they had like a Mumford and Sons like influence. It was like, but then also they really wanted to play metal, and it was like, what do you? Like,
all
this
these
is
songs were
not-
asking for a drop somewhere,
Yeah.
like into something
Yeah.
heavier, and that would have been like, cool, there's this release from like what they've worked into.
I think that's sort of what like I kind of found frustrating about it, because it was like they can clearly make that sort of pop sound, but they never chose to actually do it. it just
Yeah,
there were
it's
these
like
moments, right?
yeah, it's like pick one direction or the other. You're capable of both, but they're not quite melding together the way you want them to.
Right.
Or at least make it consistent across it. If you're gonna do that mesh, do it the whole time.
Yeah, because it's sort of, we kept on like getting peeks into it. Like Lapis Lazuli like had that, I don't know, country rock that was just not
Yeah.
good. That didn't sound fine to what we just heard. And then it transitioned into that metal thing, and there's some like really, really cool things, like sort of around the middle there's like the banjo, and I think the violin was also doing it, but it had like, they were like plucking around, and it almost sounded a bit like carnival.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what you were...
Yeah. No, you don't. There was a moment where it's
I
just
would
like
need to listen.
it was like
again.
it's like it sounded like a palm
Neither
kind of.
confirm nor deny.
My favorite parts of Vinyl Tap are when we're coming at the same album from such completely different angles that you're relating to things via Carnival, and I was like, that chorus sounds like kind of like Fleetwood Mac. And it's like, what the fuck?
All the sounds as well, especially in Glowing, I got the sense, the harmonic progression to me. I'm gonna be trashed and wrong, but and we danced the Hooters and like the vocal quality in Glowing.
I can't say I know.
I'm not familiar with the song you're discussing. Hootie and the Blowfish?
No. I'll play it for you later. It's not gonna work now that it's on camera. I don't know how to communicate it to you if you've not heard it.
Sing it to us.
Yeah, either our listeners listen to it or our editor adds in a tiny snippet. We don't get banned from YouTube.
We'll put a link and we'll flash up an image.
Yeah.
Copy strikers, Hooters. Go for it.
So it sounded like that.
Just the way I don't think it was necessarily the harmony or the vocal tone, but the way it was interacting was in like a similar way, and I couldn't quite place what it was.
I got an
but it's what
old
it
J
reminded me
feeling
of.
from the vocals, from the vocal harmonies, the way that those lines were like, and it was also tonally.
Angus Julia Stone,
Yeah.
especially because of the folk kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not out here on the
We've
island by myself
Found
anymore.
common ground. I really liked In Cold for a lot of that song. The male and female. These two are siblings, by the way. They're a duo.
Really?
It's just two of them. And they're siblings. It's cute as. I really liked in that song Cold when they're singing in octaves.
Yeah. Keeping
Yeah,
it simple, but they just by nature of being siblings, you find a lot of the time that kind of works really well together. You find the same thing with heavier band, but with Belhaven, the lead singer and the lead guitarist are brothers, and their voices are very, very different. But when they sing together, they just have that right quality that meshes together.
You've been singing together for decades.
Exactly.
That's really all it is. So if you want to make good harmonies in your band, just be siblings. It's easy. That's why Jason and I are legally... That's why my parents adopted him. Anyway, I really like the intro song, a kindling of sorts.
Yeah.
Despite the
What was it, Kira?
What?
The title.
what was that adjective you used?
My initial reaction was absolutely that's going to sound kind of wanky, but I did later cross out wanky.
Oh.
I don't know if that was completely justified. There are absolutely moments of wankiness.
Yeah.
But
It was really cool. There was it started with, I think it was banjo and violin together. But at first I was
Yeah.
like, what instrument is this?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I was
really?
I was trying to think it was like, maybe it was like a...
It sounded like an erhu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, literally. And I was like, or I don't know, something vaguely not Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like when I realized what the instrumentation was, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, of course.
Yeah.
Banjo and violin, good sound.
Yep.
I think there was one song, and I should have noted it. I don't know why I didn't. Where there was like double banjo. Where like there was a banjo doing a roll, but the banjo was also doing like a lead line over the top,
Possibly.
which is
think
not
so.
something I've really
Yeah.
heard before. Because normally when you've got a
Interesting.
banjo, you've got a banjo and it does the roll.
Yeah. When you said that they're just siblings, like it's just a duo, do you know what the...
Nope.
Well, so, like, you don't know if they also play any of the instruments as well?
I reckon they do.
Cool. That was really decisive. Because like they've clearly multi-tracked, but it'd be interesting to know whether they've gotten in, like they had an idea of the instrumentation.
Yeah.
Or
if
they just brought in musicians and this banjo player was like, oh fuck dude, I got some lines for you. Like,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
There were some winds in the album, or some very good synthesized winds.
Yeah, what was Rose had what seemed like a flute. What was you had like a moment of epiphany. What was that?
That was
what
going
was
on
that?
with you.
It was I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna say about 85% confident that it was a violin being plucked with a reverse delay. So you got like because it has like this weird sharp attack right at the beginning and then like a bit of a twang. I wrote whap. Was the sound?
Yeah.
Loop, 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 loop. Which it was basically when you is it earlier or later? A little bit later on, the violin is like plucking. I think we're all like pointing out there's like the guitar doing the bit and then it's like boom 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 bing. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the harmonics.
Yeah.
the harmonics, right? So if you were to reverse those harmonics, I reckon you'd get that effect. That no, not whap, whap.
Oh, whap.
It's important to have the L at the front.
Whap.
there.
To distinguish it from WAP.
Well, correct.
It's a
yeah.
different thing.
No, that's for a different episode of Vinyl Tap.
But yeah, no, I reckon that's what it was. Like reverse delayed.
Rose was interesting. It started off with this clean electric guitar, and then that slowly introduced the harmonics. And then later on in the song, the electric was replaced with an acoustic, or at least a semi-acoustic, you'd reckon. And the electric was still playing the harmonics on top.
You're gonna get better control over harmonics.
Yeah,
with the
but
electric.
I wasn't
Why?
like saying, why have they done this? I was just saying it sounded nice.
Oh, okay.
Why do you get better control over harmonics on an electric?
Magnetic pickups picking it up as opposed to trying to mic up an acoustic guitar. And more often than not, you're not using a magnetic pickup in an acoustic guitar. It's like a piezo or something. Which I was gonna say we don't need to go into that. You know all about why that's.
Yeah, right.
How did you feel about the way the violin / strings were used?
Yeah.
Were they like? I feel like it was definitely more used as a textural thing than in a lot of other instances.
Yeah, I appreciated it a lot. It was
and like texture thickening, a lot of weird swells, kind of as background things.
It's sort of like a trendy. It's how would I put it? It's like the Celtic influenced, and it's like a pop Celtic thing. So like a lot of you'd hear it in like Irish stuff that's kind of got that more pop vibe to it, where you're playing like melodies or whatever, but they pedal a lot and they're kind of in lower registers, so you can sit right back and you create like a texture, like a harmonic rhythmic texture, even though you're playing what's essentially a reel or a jig.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that happening, particularly in Lapis Lazuli at the end. I like the end section, I don't know. But essentially, I'm pretty sure it was a reel that they were playing, but it was all like in the lower two strings, so the lower register, and it just kind of sat in there and gave this really thick bed for it all to work off.
Cool.
So that's my thoughts. Neat.
Interesting. Yeah.
Does anyone have anything to say about the title track? Because for me, that was like the most thing. Like I wrote was it's in D and it needs a drop.
I wrote hey.
Did you read the lyrics here?
No,
I didn't
not
read the
really.
lyrics.
But there was.
Unfair.
I'm one
It is
spoonful
unfair.
away from setting my hair on fire.
I had also.
That's fucking dope.
I really liked if I'm kindling for a little while, at least I'd feel of use.
Yeah. What the fuck were these words?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like this is really one that I'd like to go back and properly explore the lyrics of.
Yeah.
The Spotify
Because there's so much
description of
going on.
these guys mentioned how lyrically they're based, and I listened to one line in the album, and it was in the final song, "Glowing," and the line was, "The inkwells of prophecy and cartography dried up long ago," and
they
like,
playing-
holy shit.
Whoa.
That just feels like they're playing D&D.
Well, perhaps. That kind of ties into what I think the album might be about, because boreal means north.
right? That's what the Aurora Borealis comes from, as opposed to the Aurora Australis. And I think this is about how there's a feeling that the age of exploration is over, that there's nothing new to discover. Does this make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, the inkwells of cartography have dried up long ago. That's what that's saying, at least I think.
I mean, say out of context.
Out of context.
Sure.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
Like, that's one line of an entire album.
Yeah, but I tied it back to the fucking title of the album
did.
because, see?
Yeah.
So it feels like dealing with the lack, like, it wasn't the only fucking line I listened to. That was an exaggeration. Okay. I tend to do that sometimes.
You exaggerate?
Never.
Really?
Never.
On Vinyl Tap?
I've never exaggerated. Yeah, it feels like dealing with the dying mysticism of the world and how we can, like, still find magic in anyway.
Yeah.
I really liked the opening track. It's my favorite on the
Yeah.
album because
Yeah, I just like the reaction of everyone when it started, where I was like, ooh.
so it uses, it sounds like it's using open strings. This album's really fifty and fourthy. There's a lot of suspensions and open chords going on here, which is very nice.
Is that not what you would expect from folk?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
But
I'm just
then there's
clarifying,
this
though, like-
interesting thing where the vocals are like very pentatonic across the board in a lot of the songs, which means like it's using a specific scale that's very consonant. It's not going to clash with anything.
It's in like basically every pop song.
Yeah. But and of course is like the general backing, but then like the bass tones are like diatonic in like the 7-tone sense in a major scale way. So that means that this pentatonic scale can like be backed up with notes you wouldn't find in it. And I think that's an interesting quality to the harmony. I wrote that down in cold and didn't pay attention to that idea for the rest of the album.
Mentioning tones, the drum tone fucking annoyed me a lot.
Yeah.
Too symbol washy.
No, it wasn't that. It just felt like where it could have been more boomy, in a sense, to give it that kind of cinematic effect.
Like low end?
Yeah,
or...
low end wise, and like so it felt like
Reverby.
the snare was really empty and like
So
kind of like, I don't know, flat and dry, and the kick drum had no kick. It was
it would probably be, making big old assumptions here, that
that's what we do.
prioritizing the bass and the sub bass, and because the kick drum fits in that range as well, you've got to sculpt it in a way to not be in the way of each other.
Right.
And there was 100% a focus. 100% there was a focus on the bass in this album, and so the drums probably took like a back seat to that in some regards.
Yeah, the bass does seem pretty heavy across the board, which is an interesting decision.
It's very, like I said, pop at the moment, and very like trendy and into like have the bass hit really hard.
It does feel like production wise they're trying to be, I just feel like the goal, the one word that's coming to my head is accessible. Like they're just trying to make it as accessible as possible while also trying to be like play with the folk side of things. And a lot of these tracks are really like beautiful and interesting and there's a lot going on. But then it feels like there's a voice over their shoulder saying, yes, but how are we going to market this? Like it just feels like just a little bit disingenuous.
Right.
Interesting. So it's like the production and the songwriting are at odds with each other.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Not enough that I don't think they're being like honest and creating the music that they want to make, because it is like, I just found the whole thing really beautiful, but yeah, it does feel like it's not 100% just like making music for the sake of music, which is, I mean, which is what everyone's doing at the moment. You got to make some money, but
Yeah, I think that would kind of match up with like, if I was going to posit how this was like done, they like had ideas for a bunch of songs, they took it to someone, like, because the production quality is incredible.
yeah.
But it sort of feels like it, I don't know, got produced to a really, really high quality, and then the actual core idea in itself wasn't built.
Or it
Does
was
that-
changed
or it was
slightly.
changed slightly.
It wasn't, yeah, it didn't have quite a strong enough foundation to go
Yeah,
in with.
because like it really like cool to listen to, but at the end of the album there was like, I didn't feel like there was any journey. between the songs, like, and
Yeah.
the transition and all that.
How
Sort
did
of,
you feel about the interlude track, Smoke Rising?
I was
Like
gonna say, it
the-
I
felt
really
like it
like that.
coded to the previous song.
Yeah.
no, but I really liked that. I thought that was
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think there's like a lot of awesome stuff going on individually. It just didn't quite line up into a whole piece.
It did strike me though that coda bit actually made me think. I wonder if they originally had that as the end to Rose,
Yeah.
Rose,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Oh, but we want Rose to be on the radio, so we'll cut it out. We'll separate it as
Yeah.
a separate track for the album."
Do we still do radio edits like in the Spotify era?
Surely, because songs are still played on the radio.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there'd still be
But are those-
criteria.
Are those the same songs, like in the exact same form that we listen to them on Spotify?
No, I'm saying it'd be different though,
Okay.
because on Spotify you can upload the song how you want.
Yeah, I suppose.
But
So
the
you could
radio
have it
is
as a
this-
single and then have it as a full version.
And then the radio
Yeah.
still has the criteria of this is what it needs to meet for us to play it.
Yeah.
The media by which we deliver music has been fucking with the production of it long before Spotify came about.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, the reason albums are the length they are is because of physical limitations.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at least that's like a tangible thing, whereas the radio thing is like, no, we like it's a thing just been decided upon
Yeah.
basically arbitrarily.
Yeah.
I mean, look, at least there are, like, I also think there is sort of a limit to, like, I think it's a good thing that there aren't too many 60-minute albums that are in existence, you know?
Why are you looking at me?
Because of the future.
They'll find out.
I am not in favor of overstaying your welcome.
What, in terms of...
60-minute album.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but
that's
that's-
asking a lot for someone to sit down and listen to your music.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Well, that's literally what I said.
Yeah,
I was just
I
looking
agree
at
with
you.
you.
Moving on. So, favourite songs of the album? A Kindling of Sorts. I'm just going to leave that. Thanks, guys, for leaving me hanging. Jesus.
Well, I already said it, and it's
Yeah.
the same one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the best track on here.
Correct.
Because, like, everything on it agrees.
Yeah.
It's all going to the same place. There's nothing, like, at odds with each other. There's no combat between the production and the writing. It's all working together to build into the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also got this sick-ass riff that has... It starts off with, so we're in D. It's got that minor third in the original riff. And then the restatement of it that happens directly afterwards has the major third in it. So it's really playing with tonality. Like, so the important thing is not major or minor. That doesn't matter. What matters is D. Quote me on that. Yeah, and it so like recontextualizes the riff under different harmonies, and we all know that I'm a big fan of that shit.
Yeah.
It's a huge build.
It is a huge
Oh
bill.
yeah. Yeah.
I
I think-
Clearly why it's my favorite.
Yeah. I think that and Rose. I
Yeah, Rose is
really
cute.
just enjoyed. I just thought
Yeah.
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
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 Click above to find out what else we've listened to this month.
Click below to support the artist we just listened to.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.